Isn't it where like the fourth set of tiebreakers is you and Freak's record against each other?
Yes, but we are 1-1. We are tied. I won the
Oh,
first match. He won this match.
that's
So
right.
we are
Yeah.
tied. So it goes to divisional matches. After divisional matches, it goes to conference matches, and after conference matches, I believe it goes to matches in common. If that is tied, then we go to I believe the record of our opponents. I believe.
Why couldn't they have just taken the same round as Magic does? Which is really weird, by the way. The fourth set of tiebreakers after opponent's match win percentage, your game win percentage, and then your opponent's game win percentage.
Uh-huh.
Alphabetical order by last name.
Legally changed my name to Aaron Aardvark.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm still recording. I'm going to open the show with that.
Oh, it's so do it.
Isaac and his mother lived alone in a small house on a hill. Isaac kept to himself, drawing pictures and playing with his toys as his mom watched Christian broadcasts on the television. Life was simple, and they were both happy. That was until the day Isaac's mom heard a voice from above. "Your son has become corrupted by sin. He needs to be saved." "I will do my best to save him, my lord," Isaac's mother replied, rushing into Isaac's room, removing all that was evil from his life. Again the voice called to her. "Isaac's soul is still corrupt. He needs to be cut off from all that is evil in this world and confess his sins." "I will follow your instructions, Lord. I have faith in thee," Isaac's mother replied, as she locked Isaac in his room, away from the evils of the world. One last time, Isaac's mom heard the voice of God calling to her. "You've done as I've asked, but I still question your devotion to me. To prove your faith, I will ask one more thing of you." "Yes, Lord, anything," Isaac's mother begged. "To prove your love and devotion, I require a sacrifice. Your son Isaac will be this sacrifice. Go into his room and end his life as an offering to me to prove you love me above all else." "Yes, Lord," she replied, grabbing a butcher's knife from the kitchen. Isaac, watching through a crack in his door, trembled in fear. Scrambling around his room to find a hiding place, he noticed a trap door to the basement hidden under his rug. Without hesitation, he flung open the hatch, just as his mother burst through his door and threw himself down into the unknown depths below.
Ladies and gentlemen, I turned 27 last month. Actually, I turned 28, I think. Anyway, with a new year under my belt, I'm going back to the old ways and starting to do podcasting all over again. This is going to be for youtube.com/Naked Samurai. And what you just heard was the opening audio to a game that I was introduced a little over a month and a half ago called The Binding of Isaac. If you can get past that and you're still listening to me, God bless you. I'm here with one of the people that are one of the runners of the Binding of Isaac Racing League, which you can see almost every weekday from 6 to 2 a.m. on Crumps 2 on Twitch TV. The 6-4 representative of the Buffalo Bills, TrainwreckJP. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, sir.
You were one of the first people that I saw on Twitch TV playing Binding of Isaac, and I was wanting to know exactly how did you come across the game?
Okay, well, actually, I came to the game fairly late. I'm a fairly new streamer of Binding of Isaac. Probably only been streaming the game about 4 or 5 months, and I was introduced to the game from Twitch, actually, from, let's say, the older generation of Binding of Isaac streamers, and that's how I was introduced to the game.
Well, it's like you said that you ended up picking up the game a little late. Was this pre or post Wrath of the Lamb?
This was post Wrath of the Lamb.
How did you memorization of what all the items do, all the mislabels, tiers, and shot rate, and all that stuff? It's still confusing to me, and I've been playing for about 43 hours over the past 2 weeks. How did you How did you buckle down and actually start remembering things in the game?
Yeah, I mean, the barrier to entry is fairly high in this game. And I watched a lot of streamers, to be honest with you. Even before I picked up a controller and started playing the game, I probably watched about 40 to 50 hours of streamers playing the game. So my knowledge level of the game definitely came a lot from watching streamers play and seeing them play the game and explain what the items do.
Is there anyone inside or outside the Border League that you would recommend to noobs like me who, number one, just want to be entertained, and number two, actually be educated about Isaac?
Outside of the league right now, the thing is that since let me try to think. A lot of the older streamers kind of moved on from Isaac. There's some
Lethal Frag being one.
Yeah, Lethal Frag being one of them. They play it once in a while, but they don't play it as often as they used to. So I'm trying to think right now. There is a fairly unknown, I don't know about unknown, but definitely not as well known streamer called, oh, now I can't remember his name. Sarcaster. And he is an exceptional player, but he's not in the league, and he doesn't stream quite as often as he used to, but he is a very, very talented Isaac player.
Out of the 32 racers that are in the Border League, yourself included, who would you recommend for people to watch?
Wow, that's a tough question. They're all great people. Purely from a skills standpoint, I guess you would have to go with Cobalt. I mean, he has probably the most hours in the game out of the racers right now, and still plays it on a very regular basis.
Well, it's like I'm looking at the standings after week 10, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know, people have had reschedules and bye weeks all over the place, but the only two undefeateds that are left is Cobalt Streak and Slack.
Yeah.
What's really funny is that I started watching your stream 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And I apologize because you've had all your losses in back-to-back weeks when I started watching, so I would like to apologize.
Yeah, the past month has not been the kindest to me, but it's part of the game, really. There is a random aspect to the game, as with all Rogue. Yeah, it's one of those things that you just have to kind of deal with, I guess, make peace with. That sometimes you're not going to do well, and it's no fault of your own, it's just bad luck, so to speak.
Well, with the game having a huge, basically being built around the RNG, the random number generator, being classified as a, quote, rogue game, how much anger and frustration have you had with the game within and outside of your league races? What's the one thing that's actually pissed you off the most?
I would think there would only be one situation where I would be probably very upset. Well, maybe a couple. And that would be if the game glitched out. For example, there is a room which is surrounded by rocks, and you get one bomb to begin with. And it is possible, very slight probability, but it is possible that that one bomb will not be enough for you to continue your run. And I would probably be upset if that happened to me. It almost happened to me last week, actually. I actually had to do a glitch in order to be able to continue my run. That is one situation. And the other situation is there are certain bosses, their programming can make them kind of buggy as well, Conquest being one of them. And there is a possibility that Conquest will bug itself out and leave the room, and you will not be able to damage him after that. So those two situations I would probably be upset with. Other than that, I don't think I would be very upset because that's part of the game. Those two situations are kind of outside game or outside of your ability, I guess, so to speak. Those situations I would probably be a little upset about.
Well, it's like when you mentioned Conquest, I had a glitch out with him, and there was enough knockback in my tiers to the point where he went off screen.
Yes.
I waited 5 minutes,
Yes.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
15 minutes, and I was like, about 20 minutes in, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to reset, will I?
Yeah,
It's
that
like, I
is-
went outside, I have a cigarette, and came back, it's like, no showed. I was like,
That is the exact situation I'm talking about. There, I'd probably be upset.
Let's get away from the runs that make you completely, like, want to rage quit. And then let's go to the ones that are deemed within the community as carry runs.
Okay.
Has there been like a two floor, maybe a 3-floor scenario to where the RNG goes, okay, Train, we'll let you have this one?
I'm not sure about a carry, but there was one, speaking specifically with Boiler, there was one run where I was facing, I believe it was Awakened Smoke. It was early. And I ended up getting full guppy by Caves 1, which is the third level, so to speak. And that was basically my only decent items that I was able to get. And just because from getting full guppy, I was able to win that race. So that to me was a carry.
Was that particular carry for the match win, or
Yes,
just for
it
the
was
game
a carry
win?
for the match win. Yeah.
Phew.
So that to me
Jeez.
is a carry. I've had, great, crazy OP runs, overpowered itemization sets and stuff like that. But for me, a carry was that run because literally that thing took me to the win.
If only, the RNG was like, here, Will, have this.
Yeah.
And what's really funny was that, I ended up getting Brimstone, Polyphemus, the Thin Mushroom for tier raids, and I was like, okay, we're going to win this one. And I die on Isaac.
Yeah, I think it's not an easy boss.
Has there been instances for you to where it's like you have enough to get there, but not enough to beat it? Because it's like with my Polyphemus Brimstone run. It's like I almost wanted to go kick a dog.
Yeah. There were times when I thought, okay, I have a good chance, and I end up either getting like a green bloat boss or a conquest boss fight, and end up dying. Yeah, there are certain situations that you know that you have enough to finish the run, as long as you don't get incredibly difficult bosses. And so your heart just sinks when you see that preview of like Conquest or the bloat, and you're like, oh man.
Let's rewind this 10 weeks ago, maybe even further back. How did you get in contact? How did Crumbs get in contact with you about the second season for Boiler?
Oh sure. He basically announced about 3 months or 3 months to 2 to 3 months before the start of the second season that he was doing signups for the second season of Boiler. The signups were on his website. So I watched Crumps for a while. He was one of the streamers I watched. So I went up to the website, filled out the form, and then about a month before the season started, he did kind of a cast where he announced the people who were chosen to become in Boiler. And so I was told then that I made the cut, so to speak. And so I just started practicing like mad after that. Yeah, I just want to tell people that, however, the third season, the next season, will probably be somewhat different in the manner that races are chosen. I believe at the moment, the information I have is that people who make the playoffs are automatically entered into the third season, and after that, there will be somewhat of like a tournament-style bracket play-in or some other form. But there will definitely be play-ins, not just simply chosen.
Well, I told Crumbs this, and it's like, it will be something to look forward to, especially in the mid-season or the postseason as it is for season 2. But it's like, I thought about it for a second. It's like, well, we're gonna have what, 6 to 8 months in between the end of season 2 and the start of season 3.
Yes.
But then again, it started coming along in my head. It's like Rebirth is definitely going to be out before then. So my question is like, with the amount of changes that have been stated about being in Rebirth from Wrath of the Lamb and then Vanilla Isaac, how hard do you think it's going to be of a transition, even though we have no information about it yet? How hard of a transition do you think it will be going from Vanilla and Wrath of the Lamb content to whatever is put into Rebirth?
Right. I mean, that's a good question, and I don't know if I can give you an educated answer about it. If the game mechanics, control mechanics, are basically the same, I don't think there will be much. The only transition will be in the itemization and the knowledge. If it becomes like the game mechanics are changed significantly, it could be somewhat like, what's a good analogy? You had people who were really good at StarCraft and were still decent at StarCraft 2, but nobody knew what was going on. And
Right.
so it ended up being like all in versus all in. And I kind of feel like it's going to be a little, depending upon how much of a lead time we get between the release of Rebirth and the beginning of the league, you might get some really crazy stuff happening. But as long as the game mechanics stay the same, I think that the skill set will move over, so to speak. If Isaac controls differently in his movement, you might see a lot of people having to adjust a lot.
Well, what is your thought about having, well, for the first time, for Boiler at least, the ability to have console and PC Isaac runners together in harmony, instead of having the flash hog
Yes,
that
Flash.
is
Yeah.
Isaac.
Yeah. I think it would be a good thing unless one specific platform would give a significant advantage over another. Like at the moment, we have Flash and we have the loading screen error sometimes.
Yeah.
And levels take, some time to load, which can affect a race. In fact, I think between Cobalt and I believe it was New York Video Game Freak, one race, New York Video Game Freak was stuck on a loading screen for probably over 30, maybe all close to a minute or so, and that directly affected the result of the race. So if the load times are exact or very close to each other, I think it's a great thing. If they are apparently different, it might cause issues.
Would you like to see the PC, the console players actually have some love?
Oh yeah.
With it. With the
Oh no.
new-
I came from a console background actually. Like I've only started playing PC games for the past 2-3 years. Oh, ever since I moved to Japan, basically, and left my consoles behind in America. So,
Where are they so I can go get them?
So, I mean, I am not one of those people that are like, PC Master Race kind of thing. Like, if you enjoy playing games, man, just use whatever means and methods you like to play them. Like, I don't really quite understand the whole argument about this one's better than that one.
Like I mentioned before, we actually started recording. As much love as I have for Isaac, it took me a while and a lot of tinkering around with the options to actually go, oh, so this is how it feels to play Isaac on the PC.
Yeah. It is very processor dependent because, of course, it runs off of Flash, and that is why I think it's awesome that they're finally coding it in a proper C++ language, so that people who do not have an i7 can play it without getting constant lag, and so it will open up Isaac to a much larger base of people.
You said that you were playing Isaac for, let's see, this makes it about a year
About
now?
I'd say a little over half a year.
Okay, so you've been playing for about 6 months, and you
Yeah.
know a good chunk of the items, if not all of them.
Right.
What are the top 5 items to pick up? What's the 5 items that you should go? If you pick that up, you're a freaking moron.
Does this include trinkets, or is this just items?
Any 5 items that you can pick up throughout the course of the game.
Okay. The thing with Isaac is that a lot of items work in combination in tandem with each other. So there are very few, if any, items, and they're situational as well. So there are very few, if any, items you're like, never pick this up. I could maybe never pick up Cursed Skull. Maybe. There's like maybe one specific situation where picking up Cursed Skull might be okay. But even though items by themselves aren't necessarily very great, in certain situations or in combination with other items, they can turn out very well. For example, there is My Reflection. Most people are like, "Oh, My Reflection," and for the most part, yeah, it's not the greatest item in the world. But if you can get My Reflection and, let's say, Piercing Tears, it can work out very well. Or My Reflection, and especially My Reflection, Piercing Tears, and the Coal. If you get some range with that, it can become a really overpowered item set. Well, I love the knife.
Stabby, stab, stab, stab.
Love the knife. Brimstone is usually good, but you do need a little bit of damage with Brimstone. I love Guardian Angel. It's a great orbital.
Which speeds up the
Yes.
orbitals around you.
Yes,
Okay.
it speeds up the rotation by 2, I believe. It is a 2 times modifier.
That's the only item that you can pick up that actually modifies the speed of the orbitals.
Yes,
isn't
that's
it?
correct.
Okay. While you're thinking, I just have to mention this. For people who are just getting into Isaac, just once, I want you to pick up My Reflection and Ipecac. Just once.
Everybody has to do it once.
First run that happened to me, and I was like, damn. Polly?
Although Polly's good. Polly is definitely good. And I like Common Cold.
Really?
I do like Common Cold. Or
And that
Common
gives
Cold or Parasite.
Common Cold gives poison damage to your tears,
Yes.
and which one was it? Parasite?
Parasite. Whenever your tears hit an object, it splits off.
How would that work with Polyphemus?
It works very well, Polyphemus. It works very well, Polyphemus. But once again, these are situational. Like with Parasite, you want more range. Parasite with lots of range, it's very good. And if you already have Piercing Tears, you really don't want Parasite. A lot of these things are situational. And it goes back to having the experience and the knowledge base to understand item synergy, I guess you would say, and how they react with one another.
One of the biggest problems I had, especially when I unlocked the D6 for Isaac, is trying to figure out what to dump the D6 for.
Okay, like in a regular one, are you speaking of, or are you speaking?
Yeah,
of...
and just a regular run through. Got Isaac for the D6. It's like I know the Book of Belial. Yeah, the Book of Belial is the only thing that I've actually dropped for the D6. But I found myself picking up more passive items instead of spacebar items, and I'm trying to branch out.
Yeah, okay. If you're going for a regular run, I would think the only item you would really drop the D6 for is the candle, the blue candle. Being able to re-roll items is the single most overpowered ability in the game. So even if let's say I go to basement 1, go to my shop and see the candle, I would probably pass that. Because I know then I would miss all the rerolls for my continuing item rooms and boss items.
Right. I have heard people, and I've heard people on stream, especially Princess Diana on her streams, when people bring this up to her, it's like, play Eve, play Eve. It's like, no, Eve sucks. I was like, okay. So, I mean, like, and I know that Diana's not alone in this because I had the same feeling as well.
Hmm.
Why, like, is Eve supposed to be the troll character? Or,
Oh,
like, is Eve and Blue Baby supposed to switch out in that role? Or, I'm confused.
oh, wow, yeah. I mean, there are certain characters where you really need certain stat ups in order to be able to finish a run, or certain or items. Like with Eve, you need damage. You need damage. There is no way. I mean, it's possible, but it is so hard to finish a run without getting damage up. With Blue Baby, it's almost required that you get an item that gives you Spirit Hearts. If not, um, it is you're going to die basically. Especially once you get into the womb. If you don't get some sort of item that will give you Spirit Hearts, such as the Mitre or the Relic or the Book of Revs. And those characters, when you don't get those things, get really trolly.
This is the last thing I can think of, and it is about the storyline that is explained, like how I played it at the beginning of this episode. And then that goes every time you boot up the game. I tried to explain the storyline of the game to my brother after I bought the game,
Okay.
and he was in a snap judgment that he doesn't want to talk about the game. He doesn't want to talk about the storyline because of the game having such a heavy religious lock to it. I mean, it's even in the name, Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
It's a reference. It's a reference to a story in the Bible.
Yeah.
How quick were you to oversee the Bible references inside the game,
Okay.
just to realize that it is what it is? It's just a video game. Like pushing that aside
Okay.
and actually enjoying it for what it is.
All right. Oh, okay. We're going into a little PNC territory. Okay. Well, I do not come from a Western religious background, so those certain stigmas applied to things that perhaps make light of or um, don't perhaps don't perhaps go by the book about religion, so to speak. I don't have that quick. Oh my, this is not what I was taught, or this is not what is okay with the proper um, religious views. So like I was just like, oh, it's a game about this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I didn't have that gut reaction of oh my, this is kind of taboo
Mhm.
with it. And so it was just a game for me, and it is an incredibly fun game for me. Now I can definitely understand people who grew up in a religious environment looking at this game and thinking, "Oh my, this is really offensive." But at the same time, I think if you look at the game at itself, it's not really making light of or insulting to, let's say, the Christian religion at all. Because even though the story says that God tells Mom to kill Isaac, in the endings you see that it was a somewhat false voice, or it wasn't the voice of true God, and true God ends up saving Isaac in the end, like when the Bible knocks Mom out before she was about to attack Isaac with a knife. So in the end, I believe that it is kind of saying, I don't know if it's a good thing about religion, but it is not making light of religion in the slightest way. And if people can kind of see past the initial kind of aversion to it, I think people might see that it is in fact not anti-religious, I guess you would say, at all. if you're familiar with Team Meat or Emmett McMillan's work at all, you know that he has a kind of penchant for dark themes. Um, so I guess maybe since I kind of came in to the game knowing what kind of humor he has, I was able to kind of get it, so to speak.
Right.
But
And push all that, you know, Southern Bible talk all
yeah,
the way to the bottom half.
yeah. But at the same time, he doesn't do it in a way that I think. But then I'm not very heavily religious, so I don't think that he does it in a way that is specifically saying religion is bad and that you should not listen to religion. I think.
Is there any plugs? You have Twitter, Facebook?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see. I am TrainwreckJP at TrainwreckJP on Twitter. I am twitch.tv/TrainwreckJP on Twitch. And also I would love to plug the Boiler members, the Boiler League. Crumps2, he is the person running the league. Twitch.tv/Crumps2. And also, all the Boiler members, let's see, will be twitch.tv/team/Isaac Races. And they are all wonderful people. We all have a great time. And I feel so happy and lucky in being able to meet all these wonderful people and race them every week. It's awesome.
Well, once again, I would like to thank you, Train, and y'all go check out the Boiler League and Binding of Isaac and all that other good stuff, or you can just wait and buy Rebirth when it comes out.
Yes, it'll be probably I don't know, probably another 6 months though. There's no hard debt set for the Rebirth. They're saying early next year is the kind of ballpark for the release. But yeah, yeah, check us out sometime. It might seem strange, but definitely give us a shot. Give us a chance. You might be pleasantly surprised.
All right, guys. I'm going to try to get some more interviews with other racers. I'm just waiting on some responses from some people, and I'll probably start releasing these once a week leading up to the Boiler Grand Finals for Season 2. So as soon as I get some information, I'll let you guys know. All right.